It's not a controversial statement to say that Halo has seen better days. Despite being popular, at least if you categorize its success by sheer numbers, it doesn't seem to be doing that bad. Halo Infinite is fairly popular right now, as it has picked up some of the slack left by Halo Guardians, and it looks like the most recent updates have been enough to prevent the downward spiral it was caught in just a few years ago. But why did it ever end up on the ropes to begin with? Well, aside from the inevitable passage of time, which is a roundabout way of saying things get old and less popular, the game is probably one of the most polarizing first-person shooters on the market right now. On one hand, everybody who plays first-person shooter games has probably played a Halo at some point and probably really enjoyed playing it too, as Halo 3 has been said to be one of the best first-person shooters ever made, if not the best. But then Halo kind of stopped being cool, at least unless you were really into its esports scene. And even then, that's still a relatively niche esports scene. How did Halo go from universally loved to universally hated? I just uploaded a video about, well, not just, a couple months ago. I uploaded a video on Helldivers and feel like that game's ability to commit to a certain creative vision and stick to it was hugely instrumental in its success. But that game had a relatively small team and a relatively small budget compared to 343 Industries and of course Microsoft. Hopefully this video provides a cautionary tale of the Icarus of first-person shooters, a franchise that soared to great heights but ultimately got too close to the sun. This is a story of Halo's decline. Halo was unique in the sense that it was able to take multiplayer first-person shooter mechanics and sell them on a widespread scale. Everybody could get behind it. The game was well regarded for its immersive storytelling and its single-player component. What a lot of people don't know about this franchise is that it at one point tried to make a play for cinematic immersion with famous depictions of battles on alien rings and epic interstellar conflicts. The games also featured memorable missions like the Silent Cartographer, the Assault on the Control Room, the Covenant, Pillar of Autumn, Warthog Run, and so many more. It wasn't until Halo 2 and Halo 3 that the series truly defined itself with a thrilling sci-fi narrative, engaging multiplayer, and a robust level design theory showcase. Halo 2 was particularly well known for its dual-wielding mechanic and the introduction of Xbox Live, which revolutionized online multiplayer gaming. The series reached its zenith with Halo 3, which offered dramatic visuals, a compelling storyline, and a multiplayer mode that kept players coming back for years. Bungie's final installment in that series, Halo Reach, would trek around the globe, evoking the mood of a tragic prequel to the original trilogy, solidifying Halo as a beloved franchise with a rich lore and memorable characters. Over time, Halo developed a shared and loved culture and cast of characters, but you came for the campaign and stayed for the multiplayer. While one of these things was what made Halo a cultural staple, the other was what made it an exercise in multiplayer first-person shooter design. Halo was responsible for creating the Forge mode, which allowed players to create custom maps and game modes, and that longevity has ramifications throughout the industry to this day. Halo was a victim of its own success in some ways. It developed a framework for which many first-person shooter games were built on, but it couldn't really tack one way or the other without a huge amount of pushback. It was a fish that could grow wings but couldn't breathe air. Halo was responsible for innovating multiplayer first-person shooter gameplay. Quick time-to-kill balanced weapon sets and a focus on both vehicular and on-foot combat was the name of the game. But the game certainly looks, feels, and plays very differently now than it did back then. Obviously, we can have a full separate conversation about the artistic side of things, and that will certainly be elaborated on. But before I do that, it's important to contextualize that this was still first-person shooter game design in its childhood, not quite its infancy, but we were still kind of coming to grips with what we could make a first-person shooter game do at scale and at mass market. The point is, the game had large scale and breadth in terms of the sandbox and space it constructed. What it had a harder time figuring out was the nuts and bolts. The game went through tons of different iterations with the introduction of Spartan abilities in Halo 4, which made it distinct among each individual title. From game to game, each Halo sort of had a unique identity due to this. But at a certain point, a new game coming out every few years started to get a little bit old. At a certain point, you needed to do new things. One example they tried to do was lean more into the movement. This is where the subgenre of so-called movement shooters began to emerge. Now, Halo was not responsible for the genesis of movement shooters that had been happening in the background for a while. But Halo was so big that it couldn't just ignore this part of the first-person shooter space anymore. However, the game's grappling with this topic did a lot of damage to the brand, because it had a hard time trying to find the right way to do it before they finally just gave up. Halo runs on a multi-year release cycle to offload the labor intensity and make sure there's a reasonable timeline of development. With the release of Halo Infinite, developed by 343 Industries, the franchise tried to return to its roots while also incorporating elements of modern shooter games. But the game had to deal with the baggage of Halo 5's controversial changes and the high expectations set by its predecessors. Halo Infinite brought back a more classic Halo feel, with a focus on a balanced sandbox, but it also introduced a free-to-play multiplayer model with microtransactions. Now, let's talk about the current state of Halo. The community is divided. On one hand, you have longtime fans who appreciate the return to form and the classic Halo gameplay. On the other hand, you have new players who expect modern features and a competitive, fast-paced multiplayer experience. The result is a game that tries to please everyone, but ends up satisfying no one completely. Halo Infinite's development was marked by delays and a challenging production cycle, which has been reflected in its reception. While the campaign was praised for its open-world design and return to a more traditional Halo narrative, the multiplayer has been criticized for its progression system and reliance on microtransactions for cosmetic items. The immersion was broken, and the series struggled to find its identity. We sat there growing up during the Halo beta, and overnight, our childlike fascination with the virtual world was gone, manipulated and twisted so that you could buy a new armor or weapon skin. Look what you did. Despite all these challenges, the Halo community remains passionate and hopeful for the future. The developers at 343 Industries continue to update and improve Halo Infinite, listening to players' feedback and making adjustments to the game. But the question remains, can Halo return to its former glory? Gaming in general has become a much more mainstream hobby, but the only kinds of people who still play Halo are probably just really dedicated first-person shooter nerds. It's popular, yeah, but it's not really popular in the same way it used to be. Now there's a time investment, like being good at the game and feeling rewarded when you make a good play. The greatest twist of irony then was how Halo tried to establish itself in this new shift by putting a certain kind of paint on the game, a certain kind of art style, but still making it very clear this is a video game, not real life. Single-player campaigns used to be a pretty normal and important component of the experience. The culture was you played the single player, you had fun, then the multiplayer came later, and it was a way to just hang out with your friends. Now, it's like multiplayer is the game, and the single player is the extra part of it. Now, let's dive deeper into the lore and the story arcs that made Halo's campaigns so memorable. Halo's narrative has always been a significant part of its appeal, from the enigmatic Forerunners and their ancient technology to the tragic story of the Spartans and their sacrifices. Halo's universe is rich with history and rich with emotion. One of the most compelling storylines was the introduction of the Arbiter in Halo 2. This character provided a unique perspective on the Covenant, showing that they were not a monolithic evil force, but a complex society with its own internal conflicts. The Arbiter's journey from a disgraced warrior to a hero fighting alongside humanity added depth to the narrative and made the Covenant more than just faceless enemies. Cortana, Master Chief's AI companion, also played a crucial role in the series' storytelling. Her relationship with Master Chief evolved over the games, providing emotional weight and a sense of continuity. Her descent into rampancy and eventual fate in Halo 4 and 5 added layers of tragedy and complexity to the story. Halo Reach took a different approach by focusing on a team of Spartans rather than just Master Chief. The game was a prequel to the original trilogy, showing the fall of Reach and the sacrifices of Noble Team. The shift in perspective provided a fresh narrative experience while still tying into the larger Halo lore. Halo 5, however, struggled with its narrative. The introduction of Spartan Locke and the Guardians was meant to expand the universe and introduce new characters, but it was met with mixed reactions. Many fans felt that the game sidelined Master Chief and didn't deliver on its storytelling promises. Halo Infinite aimed to course correct by bringing the focus back to Master Chief and exploring a new story arc with the Banished and the mysterious Zeta Halo. The campaign's open world design allowed for a more immersive and exploratory experience, but the narrative had to juggle resolving past storylines and setting up new ones. The community's reactions to these narrative shifts have been varied. Some fans appreciate the new directions and character developments, while others long for the simplicity and clarity of the original trilogy. The challenge for 343 Industries is to balance these expectations while continuing to innovate and expand the Halo universe. Now, let's talk about multiplayer, the heartbeat of Halo. It's what brought people together and kept them playing for hours on end. The multiplayer experience in Halo has always been about balance, strategy, and fun. Whether it was the frantic chaos of Infection, the strategic depth of Capture the Flag, or the pure skill of Team Slayer, Halo's multiplayer modes offered something for everyone. Halo 2 set the standard for console multiplayer with its introduction of Xbox Live. It was revolutionary, allowing players to compete with others from around the world seamlessly. The game's map design, weapon balance, and matchmaking system were ahead of their time and created a blueprint that many games still follow today. One of the most beloved features of Halo's multiplayer was the Forge mode, introduced in Halo 3. Forge allowed players to create their own maps and game modes, fostering a creative community that produced some of the most memorable custom games, from Duck Hunt to Jenga. These custom modes became a staple of Halo's multiplayer experience and demonstrated community's creativity. Halo Reach expanded on Forge mode, giving players even more tools to create and share their creations. The community's engagement with Forge kept the game alive long after its release, as players continued to innovate and share new content. The competitive scene in Halo also played a significant role in its legacy. Halo tournaments and events became major attractions, drawing in players from around the world to compete at the highest level. The skill ceiling in Halo was high, with advanced techniques like BXB and BXR becoming part of the competitive meta. However, the transition to 343 Industries and the changes in gameplay mechanics created challenges for the competitive scene. Halo 4's focus on loadouts and armor abilities shifted the meta, and Halo 5's introduction of advanced movement mechanics further altered the competitive landscape. The community's response to these changes was mixed. Some players adapted and embraced the new mechanics, while others longed for the classic Halo gameplay. The competitive scene faced challenges in maintaining its player base and viewership, as other esports titles like Call of Duty and Overwatch gained popularity. Halo Infinite seeks to rejuvenate the competitive scene by returning to a more classic gameplay style while still incorporating modern elements. The game's launch has seen a resurgence of interest in competitive Halo, with tournaments and events drawing significant attention. But the question remains, can Halo regain its former glory in the esports world? Listening to the community has been a crucial aspect of Halo's development. 343 Industries has faced significant backlash and criticism, but they have also shown a willingness to engage with the community and make changes based on feedback. The developers' commitment to improving the game and addressing player concerns is a positive sign for the future of Halo. The future of Halo lies in its abilities to adapt and innovate while staying true to its roots. Halo Infinite's roadmap includes plans for new content, updates, and improvements that aim to keep the game fresh and engaging for both old and new players. The developers are listening, and there is hope that Halo can continue to evolve and thrive in the ever-changing gaming landscape. In conclusion, Halo's story is not just about a game, but about the evolution of an industry, the changing tastes of gamers, and the challenges of maintaining a beloved franchise in a rapidly shifting market. The future of Halo is uncertain, but one thing is clear: the community's passion and dedication to the franchise will continue to drive its evolution. Before I close, let's touch on one more crucial aspect of Halo's legacy: its music. The Halo soundtrack, composed by Martin O'Donnell and Michael Salvatore, is iconic. The Gregorian chant of the main theme is instantly recognizable and has become synonymous with the series. The music has always played a vital role in setting the tone and atmosphere of the games, enhancing the emotional impact of the story and gameplay. Whether it's the hauntingly beautiful A Walk in the Woods, the adrenaline-pumping rock anthem for saving the world, or the epic Unforgotten, the music of Halo has left an undeniable mark on players. It's a testament to the power of a well-crafted score to elevate a gaming experience from great to unforgettable. The music has transcended the games themselves, becoming a part of the broader culture. In many ways, the Halo community is the heart and soul of the franchise. Their passion, creativity, and dedication have kept the spirit of Halo alive, even through the ups and downs. So, what can we learn from Halo's journey? Perhaps it's a reminder that innovation and tradition must be balanced carefully, that listening to the community is crucial, but so is having a clear vision, and that sometimes even the mightiest franchises need to adapt and evolve to survive. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments your favorite Halo memory and what you hope to see in the future of the franchise. Until next time, thank you for watching.